What's up, YouTube? Got another knife review for you. I've already done a review on the Todd Begg Bodega. This one is the field grade Bodega, so I won't do a full-on review, but I'll kind of do comparison to the titanium Bodegas, and then afterwards I'll talk about kind of the price, maybe the value of what I think of this knife. So the Todd Begg Bodega was introduced a couple years ago and received all kinds of praise, and rightfully so. And right now in my collection, I have quite a few different knives, as you guys have seen on my channel, but the Todd Begg Bodega is one of the ones that I reach for the most for EDC. This one has been in my collection for a couple months now, and I use this one all the time. I grab this one all the time for EDC. It is extremely comfortable in the pocket, fits great, flips incredible, and it just works great. N690 holds up very well. I use it for food stuff and cutting, and yeah, so, and aesthetically I think it's one of the most pleasing knives out there. This titanium with the G10 inserts, cracked ice finish on the backspacer and pocket clip is just amazing. This two-tone grind finish on the flats with the darkened fuller with the holes in it, just absolutely gorgeous. A couple of months ago, probably more than a couple months ago now, the field grade Bodega was introduced, and then most recently the titanium Bodegas have been, at least for now, discontinued. They're not making them right now. This is as of November 21st, that's today of 2013. So no more titanium Bodegas for the time being. They're mostly focusing on the field grade Bodegas, the Glimpse, the new Glimpse, and some of their friction folders. And then they're now coming out with their Bugatti, so kind of like the Bugatti Veyron type brand. So that's like a double thick blade stock with really intricate titanium scales, frames, and just an absolutely beautiful knife. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to get one of those given the price, but if I did get a chance to, I'd love to add that to my Begg collection. But anyway, the field grade was introduced, and they basically said they're going to replace that titanium scale with this thick slab of G10. This is the thickest slab of G10 that I have in any knife in my collection. Most of the time it's just a scale that covers over titanium or steel, really thin piece that just it's kind of reinforces but not really. And it's about, I would say it's about as thick, not quite as thick as say a slab of Dagger carbon fiber or titanium that they use. But again, this is G10, so relatively cheap material. I don't know if, given that it's this thick, they have to CNC machine all this, G10 material off. I don't know if it's, how much cheaper it is, but I know it's still going to be substantially cheaper than, a slab of titanium, right? It features the same titanium backspacer, only it's stark media blasted and stonewashed, and then it's got the pocket clip that is also media blasted, stonewashed, and then the bolt-on frame lock is the same, other than, again, it's media blasted and then stonewashed. It's got the same fuller with the holes in there, and then it also runs IKBS. And the pivot, I'm not sure if it runs on a steel washer insert inside the G10. I think it would be smart if they did that, but again, I'm not positive. Outside of that, all the hardware is the same. 5-screw construction on each side. Pivot is a little bit different. I think they called this the Chinese hat. You can kind of see how it pokes up a little bit. Yeah, so kind of like the rice patties, those hats that they wear, block out the sun. There's Todd Begg's design. And then the initial field grade Bodega came out with the same blade style with the fuller and the holes and the swedge. So the first, I think, 20 came out with that kind of finish, and then now they moved to these different grinds on the field grade bodegas. So they have Different G10 patterning, a scallop patterning. They have the same stars and stripe patterning. This is called the sunburst pattern. There's another one that they have that I can't remember exactly what it is. And then as far as their blade grinds, they have a dagger grind, a saber grind, and then a compound grind, and maybe one other grind. I can't remember exactly what they had. So now let's, we'll talk about price and value, which is where I'm a little bit torn. Like I said, the Bodega is one of my favorite knives that I have in my collection to carry, and this is no different. I love carrying this knife. I love using this knife. I can't get this knife right now. I can't get this knife out of my pocket. And even with the collection that I have, I find myself just kicking every single one out for this knife or this knife. When the Field Grade Bodega first came out, it was listed at $555, and at that price, for me, it was still pretty pricey for what you were getting. G10 or mostly G10. You consider the difference of full titanium scales with this cutout for the G10 with this cracked ice, little pivot, and same thing for this side. Where the lock is, you have this cutout for the G10 or carbon fiber or whatever. This lists at $850. This one with the lightning strike carbon fiber lists at $1050, which is, still a little bit crazy given that the only difference is just this little slab of, lightning strike carbon fiber and whatnot. I know it's expensive, but anyway. And then the first G10 model or field grade models, like I said, came out at $555 for this G10 version. Flipping action and everything is the same. Its lockup is perfect. Everything is great. But the fact that it was CNC machine just like the titanium models, and G10 is substantially cheaper and easier to work with than titanium, to me it made it seem like it wasn't worth it. Now, if you look at their website, begknives.com, the Field Grade Bodega is now listed at $695, so just under $700. Now, the difference between this Field Grade Bodega and the previous ones outside of the texturing of the G10 is that now their blades, at least what it says on the website, is that they're all hand ground by Todd Begg. So that kind of adds a little, or not a little, actually a lot, more special. I mean, if you figure like all the hinderers are all the same, the handles and the materials are all the same, except for a custom hinder is a blade that is hand ground by Rick Hinder himself, rather than a production model which is machine ground. So, this is hand ground and this is actually machine ground, which is kind of interesting. Because this is still more expensive and what I would consider the flagship Bodega. And now the Field Grade Bodega, has this hand ground, feature for their knives. And at $700, you might think, oh man, that's still pretty pricey. And I would agree. I think it is. But man, at $700, is it worth it? Again, I'm torn by this because I absolutely love this knife and I absolutely love carrying this knife. At $700, is it worth it? Ah, man. Yes and no. For the materials you're getting on this knife, I would say no. There's not enough titanium on here to justify that price. But at the same time, it is a hand ground custom knife. Like, is this knife more custom than this knife now? Yes, because it's a hand ground blade by Todd Begg himself. So that's what makes it special. So yeah, I'm a little bit torn by that and by the price. So materials wise, I don't think it's worth it. The fact that it's hand ground makes it worth it. The fact that I love this knife to death makes it worth it. So anyway, So that's my little quick take on the Todd Begg field grade Bodega, at least the new release of the field grade Bodegas. I love it. I absolutely love it, and I can't get enough of these knives here. But take it as you will. I know everybody's got their own opinions. Some people, when I first showed a Bodega to one of my friends who also loves knives, he was like, "Oh, that's really ugly." But he's more of a like hard user. I mean, he works in pottery and goes crazy with his knives, and he doesn't need anything like super special. But I love the Todd Bodega. I think it's an absolutely beautiful knife. The hand ground feature, to know that this was hand ground by Todd Begg is pretty special as well. So anyway, that's my take on the field grade Bodega. I love it. Don't think it's entirely worth it, but if I had a chance to get another one, when this comes out, I'll say this: when this comes out in the carbon fiber version, if it's as thick of a slab of carbon fiber as this G10 is, I will get that one for sure. So that will definitely be a knife that I'm going to be looking out for. Alright, so anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you everyone for watching. As always, you guys take care, and I'll see you on the next vid. Bye.